What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video on the Fearless Nick YouTube channel, and in today's video I'll be going through my AFL 2023 round 21 tips and predictions, and obviously as well as that, like we always do, I'm going to be going back over my round 20 tips from last week and seeing how I went. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to leave a like, share and subscribe. I'm so close now to 450 subs. I think I'm like 8 or so away. Also, I am on the road to 500 subs ultimately. Some point, before the end of the year would be nice, but yeah, I'm on the road to 500 subs, so yeah, a like and sub would be very much appreciated, as it really helps the channel out a whole lot. But anyways, guys, without any further ado, let's get straight on reviewing my round 20 tips from last week. Rightio, so like we always do, ladies and gentlemen, we will quickly go back over my round 20 tips from last week. So looking back on my round 20 tips from last week, I got a pretty disappointing score of 3 out of 9. Yeah, definitely not my best round, but like I said, it was a pretty tough round, lots of upsets, lots of results which I completely didn't see coming, especially the Freo result, Freo beating Geelong, and then Adelaide beating Port Adelaide as well was a huge shock, and then Gold Coast beating Brisbane, so it was just all over the place. So we will quickly go back over the games from last week, starting off on the Friday night. It was between Collingwood and Carlton. I tipped Collingwood to get up here in this game by 13 points, and well, I guess this is where it all started, to be honest. The upsets. Carlton got the job done here by 17 points. Yeah, I did get that tip incorrect there. I tipped Collingwood over Carlton, so got that tip incorrect. Moving down now to the Saturday matches, I tipped Geelong to beat Freo. I think a lot of people probably would have fallen for this. I don't think many people, if anyone, I think tipped the Dockers in this game. I think, from memory, I think it was 98% going Geelong and like 2% going the Dockers. So, yeah, I think a lot of people probably would have got this one wrong. Moving down now to Mars Stadium, I tipped the Giants to beat the Bulldogs. This is actually one that I did actually get correct. I think the Bulldogs were leading by 29 points at one stage in this match. I can't quite remember, but yeah, I think the Bulldogs did get out to quite a handy lead and somehow blew it. And the Giants, they just keep on winning at the moment. They are playing such good footy, the Giants. Moving down now to Metricon Stadium, and I tipped Brisbane to beat Gold Coast. Again, a lot of people, I think, probably would have fallen into this trap as well. Yeah, a lot of people, I think, would have tipped Brisbane in this game. I don't think many, if any people as well, were tipping Gold Coast. So I guess it's not a huge loss considering, yeah, a lot of people didn't really tip Gold Coast. Then moving down now to Marvel Stadium, I tipped the Bombers to beat the Swans. I was tossing and turning in my video last week for a good 2 minutes, trying to figure out who I was going to tip. But Sydney pulled off a great result for their season and really screwed me over in the tipping big time. But nonetheless, I did tip Essendon to beat Sydney at Marvel, so got that tip incorrect as well. And moving down now to the final Saturday match, it was obviously the showdown between the Crows and the Power. And once again, another incorrect tip. I tipped Port Adelaide to beat Adelaide, thinking they respond after, I think, 2 losses in a row. But unfortunately for my sake, I was proven wrong, and the Crows found a way not only to win, but to absolutely blow Port Adelaide off the park in the showdown, which is something I didn't see coming. Then moving down now to the free Sunday matches, I tipped St Kilda to beat Hawthorn, got that tip correct there. The Saints, they looked the better side almost from start to finish. Moving down now to the MCG, I tipped Richmond to beat Melbourne. Yeah, look, there was a bit of bias going into this, obviously. As a Richmond fan, I kind of have to tip my own team sometimes. But to be honest, I didn't really expect us to win. And yeah, I did kind of expect Melbourne to win. So I'm pretty okay that I got this tip incorrect, considering deep down I knew Melbourne were probably going to get the job done here in this game. And then the final game of the round was between West Coast and North Melbourne. Geez, it's been like 16 weeks or something stupid like that. Oh my God, it's taken 16 weeks, but finally West Coast have won a game. But yeah, I did tip West Coast here to get up over North at Optus Stadium, so got that tip correct. So overall, that brings me to a total of 3 out of 9. Like I said, not my best score, but hoping to bounce back next week. But nonetheless, those were my round 20 tips from last week. Now let's move on to my round 21 tips for this week. Alrighty, so here we are, ladies and gentlemen, round number 21. And geez, we really are getting towards the end of the season now. I think we've only got another 3 rounds to go before finals. So yeah, that's definitely going to be very exciting. But the first game we have got of round number 21, it is an absolute ripper of a contest, to be honest, between two sides fighting for that top 8 spot. The first game we've got on the Friday night, it is between the Bulldogs and the Tigers. At 7:50 p.m. at Marvel Stadium. Now, I guess you could say both these sides really, blew an opportunity last week. The Bulldogs, after having a pretty comfortable lead against the Giants last week, like I said, blew an opportunity to, potentially almost even secure that top 8 spot. Whereas Richmond as well, although they played really well last week, in my opinion, obviously being a Tigers fan, I did watch the Melbourne game pretty closely. I thought we played really well last week. We just got overran by the better side ultimately in Melbourne in the last quarter. But I thought overall, we were pretty good. I thought we were even a chance of winning the game, especially when we got out to a 1-goal lead early in the last quarter. I don't think it can be understated how big of a game this is. Like, if Richmond win, all of a sudden they're back in the top 8. But if the Bulldogs win, then they potentially are probably the favourites, to lock up, one of those top 8 spots. However, being a Tigers fan, I am confident that if we play the way we did against Melbourne last week, for 4 quarters this time and not, 3.5 and, letting the opposition run over us in the last quarter like we did last week. If we can bring that same intensity that we did against the D's last week for 3 and a bit quarters, then I am actually confident we will beat the Bulldogs here. Because the Bulldogs, yes, their best footy is good enough, but unfortunately they are pretty inconsistent. So based on all of that, I think I am going to tip Richmond in this one. I'm going to back my boys in to get the job done here. So I am going to be tipping Richmond here in this one to get the job done here over the Bulldogs. I think this could be a close game, but I'm going to be tipping Richmond here to get the job done over the Dogs. I'm going to say Richmond get the job done here and win this game by, let's go 11 points. Moving down now to Marvel Stadium, we've got Essendon taking on West Coast. I don't think there's much that needs to be said here. Although West Coast did actually get the victory last week, it was against an equally bad side in North Melbourne, so you can't really read too much into that. I think West Coast, they were just playing, to get their pride back, it looked like. Whereas Essendon, well, they've fallen into a bit of a hole, to be honest. Essendon, I don't know what's going on with them, but the last couple of weeks, the Bombers, they've not been too good, if I'm going to be honest. But in saying that, I think I am going to tip Essendon in this one here over the Eagles. I can't see West Coast winning this game. I know they did win last week, but like I said, it was really just, playing for pride, to be honest. West Coast, yes, you finally won a game, so, you get that monkey off your back, I guess, but yeah, I think this is going to be too tough a task. I think Essendon should be pretty good in this one. They should, bounce back from, I think, losing 3 games in a row. I'm going to be tipping the Bombers to win this one here pretty comfortably. I'm going to say the Bombers win this one here by 44 points. Moving down now to the Adelaide Oval, and we've got the Crows taking on the Suns. The Crows last week got back to their winning ways, it looks like. The Crows, I think that was the second time they've beaten Port Adelaide this season, the Crows. So, fair play to them, they got the win they needed and they're back on the winners list, and all of a sudden, they're back in amongst the pack, the Crows. I said last week their season was starting to slip away from them a little bit. But they responded beautifully. To be honest, they couldn't really have responded any better, the Crows, than what they did on Saturday night. They were clearly too good for Port Adelaide on Saturday night in that showdown. And I guess the same can be said for Gold Coast. Last week, in the Q Clash, I guess we all thought, Brisbane, I think they'd won the last 4 or 5 Q Clashes against the Suns. So I guess we all thought, Brisbane would continue on their winning ways and just get rid of Gold Coast. But it wasn't to be. Gold Coast as well, definitely very, very impressive. However, I've always said this, Adelaide is a different breed. I don't know what it is. I think, obviously the home crowd probably gets behind them a little bit. I think that probably helps them. So I think with all that said, I think I'm going to be tipping Adelaide in this one. I think Gold Coast are a sniff and a sneaky chance, but I just think in Adelaide, they'll be confident after last week, and I think as long as they don't get ahead of themselves, I think Adelaide should be winning this game. I'm going to tipping the Crows to win this one here. Let's go 28 points. Moving down now to the MCG, we've got Hawthorn taking on Collingwood. I think I'm going to be tipping Collingwood in this one here over Hawthorn. Look, Hawthorn, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago against Richmond, they almost looked like a top 8 side when they were playing their best footy. But last week, that first quarter in particular against the Saints, very, very disappointing. We have seen a few times now when Collingwood have come off a loss, the following week, they are, pretty much back to their best, and, they really come out and make a statement and prove, any doubters wrong. I think Collingwood will be far too strong here for Hawthorn. So, I'm going to be tipping Collingwood to win this one here pretty comfortably. I'm going to say Collingwood win this one here by, let's go, 25 points. Moving down now to GMHBA Stadium, and we've got Geelong taking on Port Adelaide. Probably one of the games of the round this week. This is a huge game. Obviously, Geelong had a very, very disappointing loss last week against the Dockers at home as well. So that's the second year in a row that Geelong have lost to the Dockers in Geelong. So, Geelong, definitely a blow in their finals chances this season. But Port Adelaide, on the other hand, it's hard to, make an argument that, they're going any better right now because, they've lost 3 in a row. After winning 13 in a row, they've now lost 3 in a row. Oh, geez, I really don't know who to go here. I think this could genuinely go either way. You know what? I'm going to go an upset. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide to win this game here. I just think, even though it's in Geelong, and Geelong could bounce back and, respond after their disappointing loss last week, I just think Port Adelaide, they've lost 3 in a row, and losing a showdown especially is definitely going to hurt them. So I think Port Adelaide will come out here and make a bit of a statement away from home. So I am going to back in Port Adelaide to get the job done here over the Cats. I think this will be a close game, but I think Port Adelaide will be too strong here for the Cats, and I think Port Adelaide will get a big win for their season. I'm going to be tipping Port Adelaide to win this one here by 10 points. Moving down now to Giants Stadium, and once again, this is probably going to be another really interesting contest, this one. We've got GWS taking on Sydney at Giants Stadium at 7:30 on the Saturday night. The Giants, oh my God, I can't believe the winning streak they are on right now, the Giants. It's just getting better and better by the week. I thought, that win over Adelaide was impressive. The win they had last week against the Dogs in Ballarat after being 29 points down in the third quarter, I think, that was beyond impressive from the Giants last week. I can't believe they, came back and won that game. It just shows the resilience they have in that playing group, the Giants. So hats off to them. Whereas the Swans, once again, did what they needed to do. It wasn't convincing. It may not have been, the prettiest of wins, but they did what they needed to do. They did enough to knock off Essendon last week at Marvel Stadium. A win which I think can really, potentially turn their season around and really help them, towards, potentially a top 8 spot at the end of the season. I can't tip against the Giants right now. I can't. They're just playing so well, the Giants. I just can't tip against them. I am going to be tipping the Giants in this one to get up here over the Swans in the Battle of the Bridge. And I think the Giants will win this one here by 12 points in a bit of a close contest. Moving down now to Blundstone Arena, we've got North Melbourne taking on Melbourne. The first of the Sunday matches this week. I really just don't know where to look right now for North Melbourne. Whereas the D's, well, they really had to fight against Richmond. They really had to fight to get that win, but I've always said this with the D's. They do enough to win. They fight to win. And it's really good to see, with the D's, also, similar to Collingwood, they also, have this never say die attitude the D's. You know, even when they were challenged against Richmond early in that last quarter, they still, you know, found a way to respond and put points on when mattered. I think the D's will be too good in this one, so I am going to tip the D's to win this game here. There's really not much that needs to be said here. The D's are the far better side over North Melbourne this year. North are an absolute shambles. I can't believe they even lost to West Coast last week. So I am going to be tipping the D's in this one here pretty comfortably. I think the D's, they should be pretty fine in this match. And I think the D's, they'll pick up a really, really comfortable win here. I'm going to tip the D's to win this one here by 50 points. Moving down now to the second last game of the round, we've got the Saints taking on the Blues. Oh my God, the Blues. They have caught absolute fire right now. The Blues, they are in some red hot form. They've just knocked over the ladder leaders in the Pies. They also beat Port Adelaide, you know, a couple of weeks ago. And the Saints, well, you know, they got a pretty good win, you know, it's fair to say, over Hawthorn. I thought their quality of football, the Saints, was a whole lot better overall. I thought they really looked a whole lot more balanced in this game, and they looked a lot more threatening, I guess, going forward. They really made Hawthorn pay on a few occasions, which is something the Saints have really lacked throughout this season, and especially the last couple of weeks, that ability to, you know, really make sides pay, you know, when they turn the ball over. I could see the argument for St Kilda. You know, like I said, St Kilda do have a pretty good record when it comes to, you know, coming up against the Blues. But I think Carlton, the way they're going right now, they're in superb form. There is a chance they go a little bit easier on the Saints this week, considering they did knock over Collingwood last week. And yeah, I reckon the Blues, they'll be too strong here for the Saints at Marvel. And yeah, I'm going to be tipping the Blues in this one here to get the job done here over the Saints. I'm going to be tipping the Blues in this one here. I'm going to be tipping the Blues in this one here by 19 points. And the final game of the round, we've got Freo taking on Brisbane. The Dockers, very, very impressive last week. Albeit, you know, their season overall hasn't been amazing. The Dockers, obviously, it's probably been one to forget, you know, if you are a Freo fan this season. But that was definitely their highlight of the season, I reckon, this year. The Dockers, you know, to go over to Geelong and, you know, beat up on Geelong like they did, you know, especially in that second half, I think, when they really, you know, got on top of the Cats. And Brisbane, geez, very, very disappointing, the Lions last week. They really, you know, had an opportunity there, you know, especially with Port Adelaide going down to the Crows. They really had a big opportunity there, the Lions, to potentially pinch a second spot from the Power, but obviously losing to Gold Coast meant they couldn't do that. So yeah, I think this is a really big game for Brisbane's sake. You know, they really need to win this, you know, to, you know, keep up with Port Adelaide and, you know, really stay ahead of Melbourne. Look, to be honest, I can see this game going either way, to be honest. I think Freo, you know, after what I saw last week, I think they can actually take it up to Brisbane here in this game, and it's in Perth as well. So I think the Dockers, they're a sneaky chance. They're a definite sneaky chance, I reckon, here, the Dockers. But I just think with top two on the line, I think Brisbane have to come out here and make a statement. So yeah, I am going to be tipping Brisbane in this one here. I think they'll be too strong here for the Dockers. I think the Dockers will put up a challenge, but I think Brisbane will be too strong here. And I'm going to go the Brizzy Lions here to get the job done here over the Dockers. I'm going to be tipping Brisbane to win this one here by 14 points. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those were my round 21 tips for the 2023 AFL season. Let's quickly go back over them. I've tipped Brisbane to beat Freo at Optus Stadium. I've tipped Carlton to beat St Kilda at Marvel. I've tipped Melbourne to beat North Melbourne at Bluntstone. I've tipped GWS to beat Sydney at Giants Stadium. I've tipped Port Adelaide to beat Geelong as, you know, one of my upsets this week at GMHBA Stadium. I've tipped Collingwood to beat Hawthorn at the G. I've tipped Adelaide to beat Gold Coast at the Adelaide Oval. I've tipped Essendon to beat West Coast at Marvel. And on the Friday night, I have tipped Richmond to get up over the Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium by 11 points. So those were my round 21 tips for the 2023 AFL season, ladies and gentlemen. But before we go, as always, we are going to have a check on the Fearless Nick comp. So if you haven't joined the tipping comp yet, link will be down below in the description as it always is. But currently leading the Fearless Nick comp after 20 rounds, we have got St. Lai Ben P, who is currently in first. He got a free this week and he's on 120 correct tips for the season. We've got Shannon in second, only one tip behind Ben P though, so Shannon is right there amongst the pack. We've got Marie T in third, we've got Max in fourth, Ned in fifth, Cooper in sixth. I've moved up to seventh, so I am continuing to move up, although, albeit very slowly. We've got Claudia in eighth, Hugo in ninth, Samuel D in 10th. I think he's moved up. I'm not sure. I think he's moved up though. We've got Darcy T in 11th. We've got Rick H in 12th, Christian in 13th. And down the bottom, as per usual, we've got Louis in 14th. Although, have a look at this. Louis actually managed to do the best out of everyone in my tipping comp. So look at this. Everyone got, threes and twos. Hugo got a 1. Rick H got a 4, Christian got a 5, but Louis actually did the best, getting a 6 this week. So fair play, Louis. I think Louis did actually go for a few upsets, so I think that's why he did get a few tips correct there. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, those were my round 21 tips for the 2023 AFL season, like I said. And this is my comp ladder after 20 rounds. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Those were my round 21 tips for the 2023 AFL season. Remember to comment down below your tips for this week down below in the comments. I'd really like to know your fellas' thoughts on this round. Remember to join my tipping comp. Link will be down below in the description. Like I said, I'll also leave the code to join down below in the pinned comment, and that will also be down below in the description. So make sure you join the tipping comp if you want a chance to win a shout out from myself at the end of the footy season. Remember to leave a like, share, and subscribe if you did go on to enjoy today's video. Like I said, every like and every sub really means the world, as I'm trying to get to 500 subs really as soon as possible, but before the end of the year would be very nice as well. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers!